Hello, Capricorn. Let's go ahead and start us off with some few deep breaths. I'm going to slow it down here. I'm going to pull out some affirmations for you guys to start off this reading, and then we will move on with tarot. I was organizing my papers that I had in my closet, and I found this that I had kept, and I forgot that I have this, and I want to read it to you guys. Spirit has found great voice in you, and vibrant truths and joyful splendor. Spirit has found revelation through you in resonant and reflective ways. Spirit has found celebration through you in infinite expanses and endless reach. And to all those awakened to the grace of your gifts, Spirit has found both wings and light. And it's by Lynn Hall. And I had made this, I actually used tape to make it look like it's laminated. And I had put it next to my bed so that every morning I can look at it and memorize it. And I forgot that I had it in my closet. So I found it and I felt the need to share that with you. So I'm going to leave that there in hopes that resonated with somebody today, brought light to you somehow. Let's go ahead and keep up with those deep breaths, Capricorn, and then I will pull up some affirmation here for you. Going into 2024, what has the energy been like? Who you are giving your energy to? How is your mind? Where is your mind? In which mind space are you in? And some energies that are coming up for you. What's going on with our Capricorns? I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. Moving into creative mode, stepping into feeling more of that, feeling more of that side of you. That's what I'm getting. I'm trying to put my words together here. Trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. I'm getting that you may be one needing some quiet time, and that's pushing you forward and pushing you into doing more creative work is what I'm getting here. And that in having to do creative work, you just having to do like little projects around the house perhaps, this energy is pushing you towards self-reflection and retrospection. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. Caps, heavy emphasis on your chakras. I am reminded to tell you to check on your chakras. Which of your chakras is blocked and needs more of your attention? Which of your chakras is in a higher activation? I'm getting that you may be one right now really observing your mind, what it is that is going on in your mind, what thoughts you may be having, and the energy that you're giving these thoughts. I can release my need to control. Bottom of the deck, I have surrender here. What are some things here that needs your attention when, in terms of what's happening in your mind? Okay. Very still, very quiet is what I'm getting here with this Four of Cups. I'm just getting like you're just sitting in silence, keeping it cool, keeping it easy. your energy may be very easygoing, and you have been very easy with yourself. You have been very nice to yourself. You're in this energy of forgiveness. I'm getting that there may be stuff from the past, okay, that are coming to surface and really facing you right now that you're really having to understand. You're like looking into it in retrospection, and you're telling yourself, where is this coming from? Why is my mind taking me here? 555 on the timestamp. Very still, very quiet, in contemplation and retrospection, and reflecting about the past and what it is about the past that you're having to go back to. Okay. What are some things from the past that are coming up to you, that are coming to surface in this season, in your season? Happy birthday, by the way, Capricorn. It may be that in this direction that you're heading to is really having to, it's like pushing you to reflect on a lot of these things from the past. I'm not quite sure if that is something that you are open to looking into, or you're just like very uncomfortable. Perhaps in this case, you are very much uncomfortable, and you're really seeing yourself for who you truly are. And this is also something that you're not quite sure whether to trust or to I'm hearing ignore. You may be resisting it. You're not in comfort with some of these things that are coming up for you. This is what I'm getting here with the Ace of Rods, the Three of Swords, and the Queen of Cups. You also have the King of Cups here, so that's very interesting. Let's clarify this Ace of Rods, and the Three of Swords along with the Queen of Cups. Ooh, okay. Okay, so I'm getting a lot on the self here. There might have been some things in the past that you were now looking into, and you're just like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I had done that to myself. I can't believe that I would ever do such a thing. You could be contemplating and reflecting on things that you had done wrong to somebody. This is what I'm getting here with the Seven of Swords. And you're really having to just look at that right now, and you're thinking like, man, why would I ever do that to somebody? How could I ever be like that to somebody? Why it led me to do such bad things, or why it led me to do such unwholesome things to myself or to people. I'm getting like this is more of like what you did wrong to yourself. Some things that you're contemplating on about the things that you had done to yourself that you weren't very proud of. But you didn't really know this back then, when you were going through it. You're just kind of like in this flow now, in your season now, you're kind of thinking like, how did I ever become this malicious person? How did I ever become this person that I am not very proud of? What is this world? And the King of Cups. Thank you. You could also be contemplating on, back to the Four of Cups. Look at that. You could be contemplating on like the past. Okay, I think it's wanting to come out, so I'm just going to put it right there. You could be contemplating on like the relationships that you that you were in from the past. This could have been somebody that you were very connected with, and you kind of just like seen it in a different perspective. So to you, it was like it didn't really work out. You know, at the time when you guys were together, it's like it didn't really work out. I actually didn't know where it was going. I didn't know which direction to go with that. So you were kind of just like going with the flow. But then now you're thinking about this relationship. It's like coming back to surface, right? And you're having to reflect on this. Like I said, like you're having to reflect on a lot of things here. This is about like a little bit of everything. It's not just partnerships, friendships. It's not just that. It's a little bit of everything. It's you having to, like, if you were to just like, if you were to zoom out, right? 11:11 on the timestamp. If you were to like zoom out and seeing things from a bigger perspective, because perhaps maybe you were in this little box. Like you were seeing it way too close. It's like when you're painting, right? And from that perspective, when you're looking at it too closely, it's like you're not actually seeing the bigger picture. So, and where you're painting on the canvas, you know, you could be painting it a little bigger, but because you're looking at it from a small perspective, like a smaller perspective, you're not actually really seeing the whole thing for what it is. Okay, this is the message that is channeling here. So if you could be in this season zooming out of things, okay, it's like to give you an example here, I was taking a bath, and while I was in the bath, I had all of a sudden, like, everything just went silent, right? And I was sitting there contemplating on the things that I was thinking in the moment. And all of a sudden I just went, okay, if I were to just look at this from a bigger perspective, like zooming out of things, zooming out of this situation, zooming out from this situation, then I can see it for what it actually is without labeling it, judging it for what it is, but just really looking at it for what it is, you know? It's like you having to sit when you're meditating and you're just looking at your thoughts and you're looking at your emotions for what it actually is and not really judging it, not really labeling it for what it was. This is where you are. You are in deep retrospection about yourself. And all of the things that have been coming up are from the past. The things that you have done, the things that you didn't do, the relationships that you had, that you're thinking now, if I were with this person today, how would I be in that relationship? If I were still talking to this person today, who would I be to that person today, rather than the person that I was to them back then? And perhaps who you were back then to them was not very clear, or something that you weren't very aware of or conscious about. Your mind is just like going from one thing to another. It's not staying in one thing, although you're having to just sit with yourself. I'm getting, you have a very complex mind, Capricorn. When it comes down to getting really serious, you get serious, and it gets pretty serious. And with a very complex mind, you too can be very hard on yourself. It's not easy to understand what your mind is telling you when you are not allowing yourself to really sit with it. I suppose that this is why I'm reminded to tell you to check on your chakras, because there may be some chakras that are blocked and is not allowing you to see everything from a bigger perspective. That makes sense to me, and I hope that makes sense to you too. So you're giving yourself a chance to just be very still and be very easy with yourself, and letting your mind just quiet down, because Maybe it's that time for you to just really sit with it now. Take that as it resonates. That's a heavy energy that's coming up. Just sit with it now is what I'm getting. I think you have been wanting to give yourself some time to just really sit with all of it, but your mind was just a bit cluttered, or a lot. Your mind was not very nice to you. Okay. You've been very harsh with your mind. Perhaps maybe letting ego and pride get in the way too much. A lot of contemplating on that. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. And sure, a lot of it is fear as well. It could also be rooted in fear. And that is something also that you are working on. Some of the things that have been in your mind is probably the fears that you're not willing and allowing yourself to face. So that is coming to your attention, and you're really having to just like sit with that. Like that's the energy that's coming up for you, and you're just like, shit, okay, let me just sit with this now, because I can't really escape from this. I know that I am never alone. So it's something that you have been keeping to yourself for quite some time. And you're really having to just understand, why did I do this? Where has my mind been? How could I have let this thing happen? You know, those kinds of questions. Where has my mind been, and why did I let myself get to that point? Now, take that as it resonates, and however you want to define that in your life, because I think that's like, it could be, you know, rooted in your partnership, relationships. It could be anything. But these are the questions that you may be having to question yourself about. I'm getting a lot with the self, with this Ace of Rods, Three of Swords, and the Queen of Cups. Heavy feminine energy here. Even with this King of Cups, I'm getting like heavy feminine energy. Like you could be very feminine. You can carry a lot of that femininity, but you also know yourself to be very heavy on masculine. Like you know yourself to be very strong in your will. It's potent. That's what I'm getting. Like kind of like a man's ego, very potent. You know, people can smell it. People can see it. People can hear it. They can sense it from you. So while you are holding on to this femininity, you're holding on to this feminine energy so heavily, you know, somebody comes your way and tries to attack you somehow, or try to even belittle you a little bit, you know, your masculine energy comes out and you're just like out to get them, like attack. And I suppose that your approach to, like, when somebody tries to belittle you or tries to make you feel bad about yourself, I suppose that is rooted in your fear. You know, you don't really need to have to attack and approach them in such ways, but perhaps you've become, that has been your default, that you can't help but to be offended. You can't help but to defend. You cannot help but to attack, because you've made it your default. Your habits perhaps probably got in the way of that, and you've programmed yourself to defend all the time when it's not necessary to really defend yourself, if that makes sense. but that is your way of protecting yourself and standing up for yourself. But how it comes out, it comes out as you being like malice, like very malicious, very pessimistic, if you will. Like in your mind, you're thinking, you know, this is me, when in fact it's not. I think I'm getting like this could be like you telling yourself, continuously telling yourself, this is me, this is me, this is me, when it's not. Like you've programmed yourself to think that I am like this because of what happened to me, that kind of thing, that kind of narrative. I am this way, you know, I'm this mean person because of what happened to me, or I'm just like this and I've become like this and this is just who I am, you know. It's that kind of mentality. It feels very dry, emotionless. Like, I think you're wanting to come back to tapping into your emotions, and that is why you're having to really use this right now. Because in staying creative, you're able to tap into your emotions and really having to use that for a good cause. So, in having to come back to your creative side and having to tap into your creative energy, that is allowing you to understand your emotions more and not be so emotionless. Perhaps maybe you've pushed yourself to be emotionless, 2222 on the timestamp, and you have programmed yourself to be emotionless, and it's become your default. So in the way you're interacting with people and in the way that you're interacting with the world, it is with emotionless. So then you come off very strong in what you say. But it's very, at the same time, it sounds like malice. Like it's not very wholesome, if you will. Because you've allowed yourself to be emotionless. And I think that's catching up to you. And I think that's why you're having to be very still, to be very quiet, and to be in retrospection. Let's get some numbers here for you guys before we wrap this up. Thank you for your continued love and support, collective. All of my information will be in the description box below. For any personal readings, you can contact me, and my email address will also be down in the description box, and I will get back to you. Ooh, there's a lot here. Queen, the number 6 you could be seeing, the number 3. We also have the King here. Funny, we have the King and Queen. Heavy energy on I'm getting Taoism, the number 10, and the number 4. Capricorn, happy birthday to you guys, by the way, and happy new year. I will see you guys in the next. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Bye.